Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Carter, and today we want to go through the 2026 changes to the FRM Level 1 curriculum. And to be honest, there weren't that many changes, but the changes they did make were important. So let's check it out. As many of you know, there are 4 sections in the Level 1 curriculum. We have foundations of risk management, we have quantitative analysis, financial markets and products, and we have valuation and risk models. So with valuation and risk models and foundations of risk management, we had no changes. In financial markets and products, we had a slight change because LIBOR was removed. However, the vast majority of our changes are structured right here in quantitative analysis. In the hypothesis testing section, we were historically asked just to explain what a p-value measures, but now we're being asked to explain and calculate a p-value from a test statistic. So on the exam, you can expect this to be tested by maybe being given a question asking you that given a test statistic of 2.1 or whatever number with X degrees of freedom, what's the two-tailed p-value? So the key here is just knowing how to use your t-tables. If you know how to use your t-tables, this will be easy. All right, so chapter 10 on stationary time series has the biggest set of changes in all of level 1. So it might be worth just stopping right here and taking a screenshot. So in 2025, you could get away with just knowing what an autoregressive and a moving average were. However, in 2026, that's not enough. You have to actually calculate the time series given a phi coefficient and a sequence of error terms. So you need to be able to compute the value at any time. The next change in the stationary time series section asks us to compute the lag polynomial and apply the characteristic equation to test stationarity. And this is, of course, in our autoregressive and moving average models. And so what does this mean for a test taker? Well, it means you might be given a process and then asked to find the roots of its characteristic equation and decide whether the model is stationary or not stationary. The third thing that changed in this section is that they now want you to be able to select models. So what this might look like is they might give you a few different models with their AIC and BIC. And by AIC, we mean our key information criterion, and our BIC is our Bayesian criterion, information criterion. And they might ask you to pick the best fit. Remember here that a lower information coefficient or information criterion is better. But also keep in mind here that our AIC and our BIC can point in different directions, right? Our BIC, so our Bayesian information criterion, penalizes extra parameters more heavily and favors more parsimonious or simpler models. Our last change here is to our Q statistics. Historically, we were just asked to describe our two different Q stats tests here, but now they want you to compute them and interpret what the result means for your null hypothesis. So if you're using older study notes here, don't skim chapter 10. We're going to need to know how to compute our Q statistics. The next change is in our financial markets and products section, and it's again a very small change. This should come as no surprise to anyone who's followed global markets that LIBOR has officially been discontinued, so it's taken out of the curriculum. Remember, there were some problems with LIBOR being fixed, and so it has been taken out of the official reading, and the reading now covers treasury rates, SOFR, which is the replacement, the US based replacement for LIBOR, and repo rates only. So what this means for your exam taking is that if LIBOR appears in any answer choice, it's clearly a distractor, so don't pick it. And GARP loves writing distractors right out of recently removed material. The second point I want to bring out here is to expect a conceptual question that contrasts the new SOFR rate, which remember is US based, against LIBOR. SOFR is again secured and overnight lending, whereas LIBOR was unsecured and it was term based. And that distinction is exactly the kind of conceptual hook that GARP loves to test. So remember that. Now, as we go our separate ways, let's put together a consolidated battle plan for how you're going to take on these changes for level 1. With financial markets and products, I think that this is a pretty easy change that you can sit down right now and spend about 15 to 20 minutes and understand this change completely. So I would recommend go ahead and attack financial markets and products right now. The changes in quantitative analysis are going to take you a little bit longer to master. So let's put together the plan here. I recommend first looking at and practicing the time series calculations end to end, and then drill some characteristic equations and the unit circle test. Then go on and memorize when the AIC versus BIC is appropriate and work through the Q statistics calculations. Then learn how to compute the p-values from your test statistics. With that, I wish you good luck on the exam.